Welcome back to Trailblazers. I'm your host, Melody Bradford. Today's guest is truly steering change both in business and the community. Dan Moyer is the executive director of the Greater Lehigh Valley Auto Dealers Association, the premier trade association representing franchised new car dealers across the region. With over 4 decades of automotive experience and deep roots in this community, Dan has taken the wheel not just in business, but in philanthropy, education, and community engagement. Today, we'll talk about his journey, how GLVADA has evolved under his leadership, the impact they're making locally, and what's on the road ahead. Dan, welcome to Trailblazers.
Thank you, Melody. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So for listeners' edification, what is GLVADA? Let's start there. What is GLVADA, which is the Greater Lehigh Valley Auto Dealers Association? What do they do? What do they represent? What's their mission?
Okay. Well, GLVADA is a philanthropic organization developed by all the new car, new truck dealers in the Lehigh Valley, which is 44 of them and 77 rooftops. It was designed to pull funds and advertising into our market, the Lehigh Valley. For years, we still are considered part of the Philadelphia market as far as auto sales go.
Okay.
We want to break away from that. We feel we are our own market, and we're large enough to do that.
Sure. Yeah. And so tell me a little bit about your role in that. How did you, what's your personal background, where you're from, what first drew you to the automotive industry, and how you took this role at GLVADA?
Okay. Well, I'm born and raised in the Lehigh Valley. Bethlehem was my home for many years. And at 14 years old, I started working at a service station right up the street from my home at Center and Broad Street, where he was pumping gas and so forth. And 14 years old, after school and on weekends, I would pump gas for him. He then taught me auto mechanics and had me certified, state certified, inspection, everything. And 3 weeks after graduating from high school, he gave the keys to the business to me and said, Dan, I need you to run this. I just bought another place across town on West Broad Street. So I was thrown into the limelight. We sold a lot of gas back then, and I had 5 technicians working for me.
Wow.
So it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the pressure, and I'd done that for about 5 years, and then a department store by the name of Laneco, this goes back now,
Oh, yeah, I remember.
had 6 automotive stores, and they came to me and said, hey, we'd love to talk to you about running all 6 of those stores. I thought, wow, another improvement for me. So I did that for about 5 years and watched all my buddies and friends, because I'm still young then, and go out and have good times and hang out with their friends on nights and weekends, and I'm working nights and weekends. And I thought, I want to do something different. And I went and interviewed at Kelly AMC Jeep Renault back in 1987.
Is that now the current Kelly dealership?
That's now the
Same
Kelly
one?
Automotive Group.
Okay.
Yes. And they hired me on the spot and told me I could start tomorrow. And started there, and I started there as an advisor. Within a year and a half, became a service manager. 2 years later, became a director, and then 11 years later, became a partner, and was there for 34 years.
Wow, I did not know that. That
Yes.
long. Wow. Okay. And so how did you land in the GLVADA role?
Well, the last 7 years of being at Kelly, the board asked me to come on with them and to take charge of their education committee. And everything I do, Melody, I'm in things to win it. I'm not in there just to fool around. I'm in there to make it to the top, okay? And I try to improve the quality of everything I do, whether it's a person's life or their job or whatever it is. And that's what drives me. And I was in there for 7 years, and we took the education committee to the next level. But once I left Kelly, then you can't be part of that anymore. So I retired from there and was going to start my own business, which was going to be training for the automotive industry. And because while I was at Kelly, I ran fixed operations for them. So service, parts, body shop, detail, maintenance on the buildings, help in purchasing property, negotiating contracts, training. I mean, there was a lot that was being done, signing checks and so forth. So I was going to retire and start my own business. And at that point, GLVADA had Tom Quaddick, who was with the executive director for 16 years. He gave his notice he was going to retire. And the board reached out to me and said, hey, we'd love to have you run the organization for us.
Wow.
And
And you mentioned you joined the education committee.
Mm-hmm.
Speak to me a little bit about the depth and breadth of the purpose of the organization. Surely it's a trade organization, but it sounds like it has a few different arms and a few different things that you set out to accomplish. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, the very core of GLVADA is cars, children, and community. So it is pretty wide. But when we talk about cars, we talk about the entire automotive industry, and there's a lot of branches, there's a lot of arms that come off of that. So the education committee was steered to growing to bring in more people into the industry, to talking to the schools, to talking to the students at the school, to talking to service directors and service managers in Lehigh Valley to find out what their wants and needs are, right? And in just making more people understand really what the auto industry is about and how it impacts a large amount of people across the country. You know, just under 70% of the people that work in this country are somehow tied to the auto industry. That's an amazing number, an astonishing number. And then you look back and you say, pre-COVID, the auto industry was the third largest employer in the country.
Wow.
Okay, in the Lehigh Valley back then, we were the fourth largest company in the Lehigh Valley. So our impact is far and wide, but that was more of an educational portion of what I was doing, and just making people aware, that the auto industry is a very rewarding industry. Okay, it's not for folks that don't want to go to college. It's for folks that want to work with their hands, right? And it's not, it's not where you're getting your fingers dirty anymore. It's not somewhere where you can say, well, you're not smart enough to go to college, so you're going to work on cars and do that. That's not what it's about. Okay, and the biggest downside to the industry is too many folks in years past look at it that way. And I tell the students as I meet them, if it's a brother and a sister, and Mary, the sister's in her senior year, and she comes home and says, "Mom and Dad, I know what I want to do when I get older," and they said, "What is that?" She goes, "I want to be a brain surgeon." And the parents are like, "Yes, there's our smart girl, right?" And then Johnny comes home the next day and says, I want to know I know what I want to do, Dad and Mom. I said, "What's that?" "I want to be an auto tech." And when you look at the parents, the blood just runs off their face, right? Because why can't you be like Mary, right? And I counter that with, you're as bright as Mary, because Mary can't do her job if she can't get to work, right? So your job is just as important. And if anybody asks what you do for a living, just tell them, I create freedom. And I give you the freedom for you to get in your car and go wherever you want to go to, whenever you want to go. That's what we do.
And we'll get into mentorship in a minute. You said community, as well as you said cars, kids, and community. Talk to me a little bit about the kids portion.
Well, the kids portion, we've added some events. And let me go back to community first, because that's what really drives it. So when I took over at GLVADA, I looked at it and said, what can I do different? What can we do to grow GLVADA as an organization? Because they were around for 20 some years, but really no one knows GLVADA and what it means and what it stands for. So my goal there was to get with our team, our three partners, and sit down and say, how can we become a household name? And we were missing it. We were holding events, we're giving back money to wonderful organizations, but we're not engaging the community as well as we should. So my goal was to get out there and engage the community, and that's what I've been doing since day one. And then putting activities in and events in that correspond with that. For instance, we started an event 4 years ago called the Children's Christmas Lunch. Okay, it's the Sunday before Christmas every year. It's held at a large hotel, and we invite many folks from all over to join us with their children, and as long as the children believe they can get toys. Okay, that's the only requirement. And we have them there for lunch. We feed them. We have a local radio station playing live music there for them. We have folks that sponsor it, but more importantly, we put toy boxes in 22 dealers who do an exceptional job year after year after year collecting the toys by way of employees, by themselves, or by their customers. And also at the event, we have Santa Claus, Mrs. Claus, Frosty, Rudolph. We had an elf there this year. We have our own mascot driver. And every child got 5 to 6 toys being there. Now, a handful of them, that was their only Christmas. Okay? We had folks here from the Pediatric Cancer Center. They had a blast. But we had 6 or 7 that were waiting to be put in foster care. They had nowhere else to go. That was their only Christmas at the time. So it is very thrilling, and it's a lot of fun watching the happiness on the children's faces, with that. We also started with a young lady by the name of Tiffany Sondergaard, who's working with us for a very special community project where we're inviting local elementary school students, fourth grade students, to come to the auto show. And she did a wonderful job in putting a program together where she's going to have the American Heart Federation there. She's going to have the Bethlehem Fire Department there. She's going to have, I believe, an ambulance corps there. And they're going to talk about safety, fire safety, stop, drop, and roll, maybe talk about CPR, things to do in a case of an emergency as an education day for them. And then they all get a private tour, of the auto show. Okay, so more ways to engage with the community. We're going to continue to grow that up.
The Greater Lehigh Valley Auto Dealers Association, are there other auto dealer associations throughout the nation that, you can collaborate with or pull from or you establish best practices with?
Yeah, it's a great question. There are, programs like that in most all major cities.
Okay.
Wherever they're selling cars, they want to have that there because that's where their advertisement dollars go to. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and we all get along. We meet 4 times a year. We talk about the best practices, what they're doing, what we're doing. A lot of them are very interested in what we're doing at the Lehigh Valley Auto Show because our attendance continues to grow year after year after year. In 2025, we had a record attendance of 62,104 people. That's 6% of the population. Okay, that's a lot. Most auto shows across the country, their attendance is dropping. Okay,
wow.
But I think we're successful because it's not just an auto show. Okay,
right.
There are new cars there, but there's also programs going on throughout the event to bring other people there, specifically younger folks. Like Saturday of the auto show, again in 2026, we're going to have a tuner show. Over 100 of these vehicles that are going to be there that are modified and wrapped and just really tricked out. There's going to be some vendors there. There's going to be a DJ spinning music for us. And I think that was the reason why we had just under 30,000 people come on Saturday in 2025 to the auto show. Okay, so that's a huge market out there, and they're very high with social media. That's why I love it. Okay, but also we have, at the auto show, we're going to have the original Lanta bus that drove in this area on day one. That has been completely restored. That's going to be there for folks to walk in and sit down and maybe some memories come back to them. Okay, we have the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts that are going to be heavily involved this year with their Pinewood Derby racing at the auto show. We have Kendra Scott Jewelry that's going to be there, and she's going to have a booth to sell jewelry, but also put some events on where they can help show people how to make jewelry. And what's great about it, they are also a philanthropic organization. So 20% of the sales that they sell at the auto show will come back to the Cars and Kids Because We Care Gala. Plus, there's a coupon out there with a barcode on it that you can use online or at the store, and that 20% will come back to us as well. We also have the Pit Stop Challenge that we had last year, which I have 3 modified race cars that are jacked up on one side. And we time folks on doing an actual pit stop. So how fast you can get the lug nuts off, the tire off, put the other tire back on, put the lug nuts on, and tighten it up. And twice throughout the day, the fastest team, each one of those guys get $25 gift cards.
Oh, wow.
And it is just
fun.
amazing. So it's a ton of fun. We have the Keystone Quarter Midget Club is going to be there as well. We have classic cars. We have a lot going on at the auto show.
And just so that the listeners know, the auto show happens every March, correct?
It's March. It's almost like a circuit. Auto shows are like a circuit where the cars move. So this year the auto show is March 18th. That's Wednesday to March the 22nd. Yeah. March 18th, we're open from 4:30 to 8. That day is for the public, but also it's free to first responders, medical folks, military veterans, and so forth. All right, just with ID. That's held at Lehigh University Stabler Arena. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. And then Thursday through Saturday, it's from 10 to 8 p.m. and then Sunday from 10 to 5 p.m.
And can they go online to get more information about what's happening when and what have you?
Yeah, for the auto show or for GLVADA, or if you want to volunteer, 96% of the people that are at the auto show volunteer for us. If you're interested in anything like that, 2 ways to do it. You can go on to GLVADA.org, that's GLVADA.org, or LehighValleyAutoShow.org, or you can reach out to me. You can call me, email me, text me, and I'd love to sit down and chat with you.
Okay. Now, you talked a little bit about, how you're pulling in some collaborations, how there's going to be presence from organizations, nonprofits, ambulance corps. You went through a whole list. Talk to me a little bit about the importance of collaborations. Let's start there.
Sure. Well, that falls under a leadership role. And leadership starts with you, starts with me. It starts with my core values. It starts with my passion. But it also it also means team. Okay, the GLVADA, the auto show, that's not the Dan Moyer show. I'm very, very thankful that I have folks like Sarah Dams and Tiffany Sondergaard and our office manager Lori that we can bounce things off each other, and we meet regularly to talk about our plans and what we can do differently to really change the scope of GLVADA from what it was to where we want to go. Mm-hmm. But it's about the leadership role, and for me, leadership is learned. It's not taught. There's a difference there, and it's about putting the right processes in place in a structured environment. Being as open and honest as you possibly can be, and if I had to sum it up in just one phrase, it's about walking the talk every minute of every day. People will follow folks that they see are good leaders that they can trust, right? That includes those individuals to be a part of what they do, and a good leader can look back over his or her career and say, you know what, a good leader creates more leaders, not more followers.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Good segue into my next question about mentorship. I know that you're involved in some mentor initiatives, if you will. Mm-hmm. Did you have a particular mentor in your leadership journey that kind of really guided you? And talk to me a little bit about the mentorship work that you do now.
Yeah, I sure do. There's three men in my life that really molded me, and one was my father, who was a military man. A very structured environment. When he said something, you listened. And he had a conversation with me early on, and his conversation was really simple. He said, son, two pieces of advice for you. Be a person of your word, and whatever you do, don't ruin our last name. And that stuck with me. And being a person of my word, that's what I'm about. I don't like to sign agreements with people. I like doing things on a handshake. And if I say to you, I'm going to help you, I'm going to do something, take it as gold. I'm going to do that for you. Okay. My father was one of them. The gentleman that owned that service station that taught me about the auto industry and gave me the opportunity, Manny Sociatis, he's one of them. But I think an even bigger player is Robert Kelly, who is the original owners of the Kelly Automotive Group, who really took me in, saw something in me, and pushed me and was aggressive in guiding me. And at his old time, he made me a better man, a better husband, and a better father by his guidance. And those three people really, really mean a lot to me. And also, I thank the Lord for His guidance.
And what mentoring do you do now?
Well, we engage with the children. I talk to the students at the school, not just about as a technician or a body person, but about the auto industry itself, and trying to get them to engage or at least listen about the auto industry and really talk about myself. Okay, I have no college education. I didn't go to college, but I gave myself the education. I worked hard. I listened. God gives you two ears and one mouth for a reason, right? And just work hard, and if you do and be honest, you'll go far in life, and you can. Okay, you can start at a dealership washing cars. It doesn't mean you're going to be there 20 years later. You might be a manager of a department. You might be an owner. Okay, that it really grows, and that's what I love and what's fascinating about the automotive industry.
Certainly, I'm sure that you've come up against some challenges within your career within the industry. What's to know behind that curtain? That maybe we don't already know. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it all starts with the organization you work for. I can say that the group that I worked for was an above-board operation. Really the phrase was, if it doesn't feel right, don't do it, because it's probably not. Okay, and we really focused on the customer, and our employees and how we treat them. And I think that we had processes in place to make sure that if this happened, here's how we react. Okay, and when you have full team engagement like we always had there really were no bad situations. I think it just comes down to, hiring the right people. Okay, that was my focus. I did 99% of the interviews. I wanted to talk to everyone because my job in hiring someone, and my interviews were a minimum of 2 hours, because I wanted to get to know you. I wanted to get to know who Melody was. Melody might be applying for a cashier position, but when I interview her, she might not be that person for that position. She thinks she is, right? And if I hire you, I'm going to invest my time and money in training you. And in training you, I want you to hang around. So that means I have to put you in the best position for you. I have to set you up for success, right? And if I put you in the wrong position, I'm not setting you up for success. And my interviews were very detailed. And I'll tell you this, that when I interviewed for a cashier, and every cashier had the same questions, okay? I would ask you a question, and I would cut you off on purpose. And then I'd ask you another question, and I would cut you off again. Another question, I'd cut you off again. And all I did was watch your body language. I wanted to see how many times that I could cut you off before you started getting frustrated with me. Because that position has a lot of moving parts to it throughout the day. You're hardly ever dealing with one person at a time. There's people coming at you from all different angles. The phone is ringing, and I want to see, can you handle those things? And if you can't handle it there, you're not going to handle it in the future. So even though Melody might be a great person and a great hire, maybe not for that position. Maybe we can put her somewhere else, right? That's what the goals are. And I listen to people because there's three words that I watch when I talk to people about their careers and what they're about. And to me, life is about habits, choices, and outcome, right? If you make good habits, you'll make good choices, and you'll have great outcomes, right? If you don't like the outcome, you have to change something, right? Because you're 100% accountable for the results, good, bad, or indifferent,
right.
Okay? But if you're not happy with the outcome, then you have to change your habits, right? And that's what I want to hear from people when I talk to them. What do they like to do, right? I'm up every morning at 6 o'clock. I'm out the door running my 6 miles right away. I mean, this is my day. It's a very structured day for me. I like to keep it that way.
How would you say your leadership philosophy has changed over time? Because surely you've learned things as a leader that, and came up against certain circumstances. I imagine that some of that routine that you just mentioned probably leads back to, the military influence that perhaps you got from your dad. Mm-hmm. How has that guided you? But how has that leadership philosophy changed over time?
Well, what's funny is when I was at the dealership, I was there for 34 years. I know all the dealers that are around here, but I know them on a competitive side, right?
You know where the bodies are buried.
Right. So now doing this, I'm with them on more of a friendship side and more of a relationship side, and my network has really changed from one group of folks to another group of folks, and really getting their buy-in, getting them to know me. Getting to know my philosophies and what I want to do with their organization to help it grow. That to me is what's the best.
In your own words, what does success look like to you? Not just professionally, but personally as well.
Well, I'm a very, as I said earlier, very structured and very goal-oriented person. So my successes are always on achieving my goals, and whether it's in professional or personal life, that's what I'm set out to do, and that's why I say I have the I'm in it to win it mentality. To me, that's what success is. Success, as far as anything goes, success to me also is making people happy, making sure that people are, if I can help them in any way, I want to try to do that for them, and thank the folks that are there. I was at a restaurant Friday night, and two veterans come in with their hats on. And sat down at a table next to me. And I said to the waitress, "Do me a favor. Can you put their first 2 drinks on me?" I told her not to tell them, but she told them. And they came over and thanked me. But to me, it's the small things. And I do that because I was taking my father, oh my gosh, he was in his late 80s. And I was taking him to Florida with us. And he's in his wheelchair. And my father, being a military man, he was proud to wear his World War II hat. He wore it everywhere. We had to take it off when he got in the shower. Otherwise, he'd wear it there. And I'm pushing him through the airport. And this big guy comes walking up and tells me to stop. And I stop, and he gets down on one knee, and he says, shakes my father's hand and said, "Thank you for your years of service." And the biggest smile came across my father's face. And I thought, wow, that's very instrumental. That makes him feel good. So that's what I do now for everyone that I see in that situation. And if I go somewhere and there's a lady that's there, I get the door for him. I do those things because that's what we should all do.
If you were to give advice to somebody going into a dealership, let's start there, what advice would you give them as they're either going to possibly purchase a car or get their service, their car serviced or something like that?
That business is like any other business. The very core of the auto business is building relationships with people, right? When you build relationships with people, people will buy from you, they'll trust you, they'll follow you. And that just makes it very, very simple. So I would say when you go somewhere, you don't have to talk to the first person that comes up to you, but find someone that you feel comfortable with, okay? And before you get there, do your homework. Everything's online today. Years ago, when I got into business, people came to the lot to look at cars. Now they
Right.
go online.
Yeah.
You know, so my deal at the dealership when I trained the sales consultant was if someone calls you to set up an appointment and they want to look at this particular car, get out there and look at everything on that car, because when the customer comes in, they're probably going to know more about it than you do. Okay, and if you feel comfortable with it, I would say drive the car. You know, it's the second largest investment you're ever going to make, right? So drive the vehicle, make sure it fits your needs. Okay, but that is one of the best things about the auto show. Okay, is you can come to the auto show. It has almost every manufacturer that's out there.
And preview all of them.
Preview all of them, sit, in the segments that you're looking for,
Yeah.
right? And maybe you have your mind made up on one vehicle, but when you get there, you sit in something else. You think, so you might change your buying habits, right? Or you could have just closed the deal on your buying habits, okay? And maybe there's a manufacturer that's not there that you wanted to see, but so you couldn't sit in that car, but you said, you know what, I'm here. I'm going to try these others. Maybe you changed your buying habit there and moved on to another vehicle at that point. But that is one of the great things of the auto show. There's no haggle, there's no pushing that goes on there, and you can really see every car that's out there. And you know what? I think some people go to the auto show too just to maybe to dream. I know I can't afford this Lamborghini, but I can sit in it,
Yeah.
right? And I just dream for a couple minutes about
Sure.
it, you know. So but I think too is that I would go to a dealership where they're going to introduce you to the folks back in the service department and the body shop and so forth, because anytime you go somewhere for the first time, your anxiety levels are very high, okay? And you buy a car, but they don't introduce you to the service folks. Now you're not sure where to go, so now your anxiety levels are high, okay? And that's unfair to you. So you should get the introduction of the service department, and you should ask for it as a customer, so you know exactly where to go. They should introduce you to the people that are there, so you know where to go and who to ask for if something should happen. It makes that so much easier for you.
Yeah, and a full continuum of care.
Yes.
What's happening next for GLVADA? What's on the horizon?
Well, the goal is to continue to grow the organization. I mentioned earlier about our mascot. We have our mascot driver, who's a Burmese mountain dog, and they're going to come to every one of our events with us. We're working currently on a trading card for her. Both Sarah and Tiffany are going crazy with this card. It looks amazing.
Oh, wow.
So we have that. It is sponsored, so the organization that's sponsoring it, he's going to go to their events as well. So we're thinking she could make 15, 16 different events this year.
Wow.
Maybe a parade, because as you know, Burmese Mountain Dog, they love to drive in cars, right?
Yeah.
So once again, helping us in the community.
And if you could go back and give your earlier self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Maybe slow down a little.
Yeah.
Not pressing myself so much all the time to be the best you can be, and also maybe getting more engaged in the community a little bit sooner.
Dan, thank you so much for sharing your journey and the work you're doing in our community. From leadership to service, it's clear you're driving impact both on and off the road. To our listeners, if you haven't yet explored the work of the Greater Lehigh Valley Auto Dealers Association or attended the Lehigh Valley Auto Show, I encourage you to lean in, show up, and get involved. Our region is stronger because of leaders like Dan. Dan, thank you for blazing trails and for helping drive this community forward.
Thank you, Melody.